Well, hello, and welcome to episode 6 of our backyard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. Today is March 15th, 2024. Kind of a cloudy, overcast day, but it's very pleasant, about 60 degrees or so. It was pouring down rain most of the morning and early afternoon, but right now at about 4:30, it's actually very dry and very pleasant out. So I'm going to do a quick run through of our backyard. Just finished the front yard. We'll start with our irises, our white irises, and the ones that always bloom first. And they're doing very well here, although they're not fully in bloom. We have probably another week before that happens. And then a few weeks after that, we get blue irises that take their place. So we'll have a lot of color through here for the next couple of months, which will be nice. No buds on these irises over here yet, but I think they will come along later on because they certainly did last year. And then over to our spring garden is already kind of peaked. Hard to believe that already, and it's not even spring yet officially. It's still technically winter for another 6 days. But we've got our hyacinths. These have been in bloom for a few weeks. Some of them are finishing up already. Daffodils over here, mostly finished. And it's hard for us to conceive of that because our family moved here from Ohio about 6 years ago, and as of March 15th, usually you just have a few crocuses out. You might be getting some daffodil bulbs or buds by that time, but everything is still ahead of you, and even well into April, and the tulips don't even bloom until May a lot of the time. So for this to be already finishing up in some cases is just amazing. And here we have a big knockout yellow rose. We just put this in last year, and it's kind of an odd thing. It's grown really well, and it looks really healthy. Nice leaves on it. We had deer that ate about half of the plant away, the back half of it, over the winter, and yet it's still doing very well. So it's nice to see. Over here we've got hydrangeas. Still have the old seed pods from last year, and those will fall off soon, I think. New leaves coming out. It'll be another couple of months before we get the white flowers there, but that'll be something to look forward to. Speaking of tulips, we have a few here in the back. Not a lot. Most of our tulips are in the front, but we have some buds here and some more over in this area. These will be out in the next couple of weeks, basically taking the place of the daffodils and the hyacinths, which are still blooming, but are past their peak, and it's going to be kind of a slow decline from here on out. Now over this way we've got digitalis. These have come back from last year. We have not cut off the old seed pods, but we will when we do the spring cleanup. And an interesting thing is these spread by seed. So we've got one here and one here, right at the edge of the yard, so or grass, I should say. So I don't want to really leave them there because mowing is going to destroy them, and I would rather keep them. So we might try to dig those out and put them up in the yard. They give us a lot of blooms all through the year, which is really fun. What else do we have? Lots of these pansies. Now, we put these in the fall. Rabbits ate them right down to the ground. They have come back, lots of buds on them. I've been spraying them, so they're doing a lot better, but you can see where the rabbits have pulled them out by the roots, and so if I don't keep spraying, they're going to be gone in no time. This is a big butterfly bush. We have two of these. The other one is right over here, and these give us nice bright purple flowers when the time comes later in the summer. And we have another petite knockout rose with red blooms that will be coming in another month or two. This didn't do so well last year. We have another one further down the garden. Hard to say what they'll do in their second year. The one out front has done much better, but this looks pretty healthy so far, so I'm optimistic that these will do well. And then we have a couple clematis back in there. We were kind of trying to train those to grow up into the hydrangea. We'll see how that works out later on. And then we have a lilac back in here. It's got some buds on it, so in another few weeks we'll have some color there, some lavender color. Clematis up against the fence there. Those are doing really well. Clematis right here growing up among this knockout rose. These are getting close to blooming, probably another couple of weeks, and they'll be out. And we've had snapdragons here. At the moment they don't look like they're going to come back. Hard to say. We'll keep an eye on them. A couple of azaleas. Actually, we have about 6 azaleas over in this area. This is more of a shade garden back in here. And some more hyacinths. We've got a lot of daylilies that are starting to come up. They won't bloom for a while yet, but they're looking very healthy. Our one viburnum in the backyard is over here, and this is getting ready to bloom in another probably 2-3 weeks. Big white flowers on them. Those will be fun. This is the only one we have in the backyard. It's one of our bigger ones, and we have some in the front yard as well. Hyacinths over here. Again, they have sort of peaked. They have color for another couple of weeks probably, but then they'll be done for another year. Astilbe already coming out in March. This is a midsummer shade plant, shade flower. These flower buds from last year. They kind of look like fireworks. Not red, but pink and white mostly. But they're doing very well. Look like they're gonna have a good year again. I've got lamb's ear here. I've shown these off on a number of occasions. They don't flower, but they're very pretty, very unique looking little plants right along the ground level. And over here, camellia doing well. It's one of our smaller ones. It does have some beautiful flowers on it. We have a couple others that I'll show you in a little bit. And some more astilbe here. We have some hostas that'll come up later on. And we have a wisteria back there against the fence that has kind of struggled a little bit. Wisteria is pretty invasive, and they generally do very well. This one we put in last year. It's finally, just since last week, starting to get some buds on it. Not buds, but leaf buds. And so it looks like that will do well this year. Some clematis, daylilies, one little azalea flower hiding back there. So we'll have a lot more of those between now and April. Lots of daylilies in here. This will be a very different bed this year than it was last year. We had some very dominant knockout roses here. The deer ate these right down to the ground. Not sure what's going to come of them, although this one right here, this has come up honestly just since last week, all these leaves. We'll see if it comes back. Some of these things are very hardy and can survive a lot of different insults, so time will tell. We've got some other climbers along the fence, and a few irises here, and some Shasta daisies, I believe, in this area. Those will give us white flowers in the later part of the summer. And along the fence over here, when the time comes, we'll have little white jasmine flowers, very pleasant smelling, along with clematis and climbing roses. Big knockout rose here. You can kind of see where that was eaten down to the ground by, or at least on this half of it, by the deer. Having said that, though, I'm getting a lot of growth coming up out of the base, so we'll see what becomes of that. It'll be interesting to see. More hyacinths in this area, another camellia. This one has done very well, although it's peaked. Unfortunately, the flowers don't look so good once they start to wilt. Beautiful flowers when they're out and they're fresh, but then once they get wet or they wilt, in the sun, they kind of turn brown and just fall into a big gloppy mess on the ground. Another big Shasta daisy here. Lots of climbing roses up in this area. This is really this trellis has been kind of taken over by both jasmine and climbing roses, but we're getting a lot coming up across the top. So I think if you've watched these videos before, I've talked a lot about trying to get them to join with the ones on this side, which have been coming up for 2 or 3 years now. And so we should have lots and lots of color before too long. The climbing roses are doing really well. This is another camellia, kind of a peppermint pattern, really cool. But once these finish up, we'll probably chop that back a little bit because it really obscures our view of everything behind it, which is not out yet, but we're going to have lots and lots of clematis flowers, red climbing roses, all kinds of stuff. We have several tea roses back in here, different colors. We've had, last year in this area, we had a lot of big tall zinnias. We haven't cleared those out from last year yet, but at some point we will. Another camellia over here. Still got a few pretty flowers on it. And then not climbing rose, but a butterfly bush over in here. Later in the summer, that'll give us some bright purple flowers. And then over this way, we had a big group of daffodils. They're about done now, just a couple flowers left. And then that'll be done too. We have another few, it's actually several plants. This one I call ice plant. I don't remember the name of it. But it did well the first couple of years. It has not done as well since then. Not sure what to expect of that. This wisteria, I'm not seeing any buds on it. We put that in last year. Hopefully it'll come back, we'll see. We have some tea olives over here. Not a very impressive bush. It really doesn't do much. They were supposed to grow a little bigger than this, but they do give us, for a very short time, some of these little flowers. And they're mildly fragrant. Nothing to write home about, but they're interesting nevertheless. Clematis back in here. These have really taken off, doing very, very well. So I think we'll get lots of color over in this area. And then this crazy thing was given to us by a neighbor. It's tropical, gave us some amazing flowers late last summer. It's got a little bit coming up now. We'll see what comes of that. And then our biggest wisteria over here is just barely starting to come out. So it'll be another month before that's got leaves on it, and then the blooms will come probably about May. And it's interesting that the wild wisteria around here come out in April, and these that we bought at a garden store come out a full month later. So it's fine with me. I'm in no hurry to get this this growing season and flower season over with. We have a weeping, I think this is a weeping cherry, perhaps. It gives us a few flowers later on. Overall, this has not been the most impressive tree we've ever seen, but should give us some flowers here before too much longer, probably by early April. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm not even going to go back over into this area other than to just show what a mess it is right now. We have a lot of canna growing back in there over the summer. Daylilies, black-eyed Susans, all through the lower section of the yard. But that really needs to be cleared out before we get into the next, before we get into the full growing season. So just another thing on the list to do. Up here, we always finish up with this bed. We've got a lot of roses doing very well. It'll be a while yet before we get the flowers out of them, but At the moment, they're doing well. Here we have Veronica. It's coming up nicely. You can see by the picture, we'll have some beautiful purple stalks of flowers. We have some down in the lower part of the garden as well. And here is also, looks like those will do very well. We put in a lot of calla lilies up in this area. It looks like maybe we're starting to get a few here, or maybe just regular lilies, maybe regular Asiatic lilies. Hard to tell at this point. Got our longest lasting lilac here. I'm not seeing any buds on it, flower buds yet, lots of leaves. Big clematis growing up through that. And then over here, this is a newer lilac. It does have a lot of little buds on it, so we should get some flowers out of that before too long. Our big hosta back in here doing very well. Just starting to come up, break ground. And lots of daylilies and more roses, just all kinds of stuff back through here. More Asiatic lilies coming up in this area. I saw a few others over in that part of the garden. I failed to say anything about them, but it's still so early, it's hard to mention everything. And there is one last thing I'll mention here, our blueberry. Doing pretty well, looks like. It's never been all that impressive. It hasn't really grown since we bought it, but it does have some nice little flowers on it, so hopefully we'll get a few little blueberry fruits before too long. Well, I would say before too long, it'll probably be early summer. Some more hostas here later on. We'll get tomatoes growing just wild throughout this area from seed. And that's about it. So that's our backyard for this week. Not as impressive as the front yard, to be honest. We have more impressive flowers out in the front, but nevertheless, there's a lot coming up. I think we're going to see a lot of color down here within the next month or two, and we'll be here every week showing it off. So until next week, happy gardening.